The 2024 Yu-Gi-Oh! Mega 10s are unfortunately worse than even I predicted. Today, big dog, me and Chad are going to be talking about the huge problem about these particular 10s, especially since the content creators have revealed everything you need to know. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Today, big dog, like I said before, we're going to be talking about the huge problem with the 2024 Mega 10s, but hopefully we can also talk about some things to be able to fix it, because I've never been a person just to talk about problems. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is that I talked about it in my last video, which was saying that the Mega 10s were a scam. And the biggest thing was it was rumored that there were 100 secret rares inside of this 400 Mega 10 set. And unfortunately, those rumors are true. There are 50 quarter century rares, 100 prismatic secret rares, 150 ultra rares, and 200 commons. That card pool is way too wide to potentially get what you want. It actually gets worse. My boy House of Champs talked about this a little bit earlier, but basically what he said is that if you buy 8 cases of the Mega 10s, it would be comparable to buying 1 case of the set that you particularly want. Allow me to break it down. Let's say you bought a case of Age of Overlord. You have a higher chance of getting multiple copies of SP Little Knight as opposed to buying just 1 case of the Mega 10s. In actuality, in order for those to equate, you gotta buy 8 cases. And last time I checked, a case of the Mega 10s were about $200 each. So basically what I am saying here, let's say you were looking for SP Little Knight. So you buy a case of Age of Overlord. If you get 1 case of Age of Overlord, you're almost guaranteed at least 1 SP Little Knight. And through my years of opening cases, it's actually an oddity when you don't pull at least 1 of a secret rare. But on the flip side, if you buy 1 case of the 2024 Mega 10s, you're not guaranteed to get 1. In order to almost guarantee yourself 1 copy of SP Little Knight, you'll need to buy 3 cases of the 2024 Mega 10s. And in order to keep up to par with a case, which is in between 3 or 5, you have to buy at the very minimal 8 cases of the 2024 Mega 10s. So in case you didn't know, pun intended, like I said before, the MSRP of a case is $200 each. This means mathematically you need to spend roughly about $1,600 just to get a playset of a card that you wanted from this set. Now, granted, the example that I use doesn't necessarily trade 1 for 1 because there are more cards than just SP Little Knight that you can get from the set as opposed to the set cards that are in Age of Overlord. It's an accumulation of cards over throughout the years. But this example is to show you how poorly Konami decided to map out these cases unless they short print some prismatic secret rares or overtune the cards that we're looking for. And looking at the creator videos, cards like SP Little Knight themselves may be short printed. We also seen during the watching of every single Mega 10 opening that there were mapped boxes. We've seen particular players open a particular pack and get all of the exact same cards multiple times. So this means if you get a bad batch of the Mega 10s, it pretty much means that you're cooked. I don't know about you guys, but this particular situation right here really makes me want to question the validity of what Konami is actually doing with these Mega 10s. Is there a possibility that if you're a favorited store, they're going to send you a better batch? Were they just using these map cards to try to figure out if content creators were going to leak these potential cards and figure out who exactly leaked the cards? Also, I'm not really a manufacturer expert, so this could be on the manufacturer's side too. But one thing that I do know is for sure is that it kind of takes away the feel of opening packs, because in a 400 card set, it feels incredibly odd that you can get 110 in 1 pack could be the exact same as another pack. I mean, look, I ain't gonna complain if I get cards like SP Little Knight, M-SETI, and Wanted, but I think it would feel really bad if you got limited removal, Rock the Vanquisher, and a token. 2 packs in a row. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna play that limited removal. And of course, big dog, I'm not trying to fear bait you or anything. I want you to check this out for yourself. Literally, go and look at the content creator reveals. And whatever you do, do not fall for the glazing. I mean, holy crap, some of them dudes, they was glazing so hard, you thought they ran Krispy Kreme. Glazed so hard it made DJ Academic jealous. Glazed so hard it made me jealous. Can I get fans like that? Sheesh. It's incredibly disappointing that not only do you see these mapped packs and that you can reference them with other packs, it's also incredibly disheartening. Look at creators open 2 cases worth of 10s and only see one of the card that you may be looking for. We've actually seen cycles of the exact same quarter century rares before we even saw one of the prismatic secret rares. I mean, as of making this video, we've seen 1 memento card. We've seen 1 person pull 1 SP Little Knight. We've seen 1 person pull 1 Wanted, 1 Diabel Star, 1 of every of the most sought after cards. And we've watched at least 2.5 cases of these 10s being open. Imagine buying a case of these expecting a SP Little Knight only to end up with some left arms. And I think Konami tripled down on making this 10 less desirable is because half of the cards are reprints, but they're still commons that you could have gotten from the entire year of last set. The ultra rares did have some cool upgrades, but lacked some downgrades. Staple Yu-Gi-Oh cards that were really hard to get last year that should be more accessible. And to make matters worse, every single hard to get Yu-Gi-Oh card seems to be a secret rare. Basically, if you were a secret rare inside of the main sets last year, or if you were an ultra rare inside of the deck build sets, which are incredibly hard to get too, you're a secret rare inside of these 10s. This does not feel like a reprint set of old where cards are accessible to more players and easier to get to. I don't know how you guys feel about certain cards being reprinted, like how Emergency got a super rare and the Supreme Trap card for the Supreme King Zark card, but I absolutely hate that Konami will reprint a card that we got in the OTS as a higher rarity. It literally defeats the purpose of putting it in the OTS. That space could have been used for so many other things. There are some cards that are just like, why are you here? Why is Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle a quarter century? Are they really gonna make all of the other Crystal Beast monsters quarter century? Really? And if they were going to do that, they could have did that in the entire set that it's coming out in. Do not diss my Ruby. I'm sorry. Because again, I have mixed emotions for this set. It's definitely a lot more disappointing than I ever expected, but it also has some really cool things that tries to make up for it. Like how Konami not only reprinted Vanquish Soul, a strategy that we almost knew that was going to be inside of the Mega 10s, but also reprinted Centurion and Memento. Seriously, I think that this is completely huge. One of the best things to come out of the 10. Centurion is getting more support in the future and is thought of to be a better deck going forward, and Memento is already one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. Having access to these particular archetypes a year earlier than they were scheduled, I think is a huge W. I also have to admit that regardless on how scarce these cards may be, these are still reprints that are going to hit circulation. Unfortunately, card prices are going up a little bit. I think it's in part due to the disappointment inside of the Mega 10s, but also TCG Player is having a sale, which means that if you use my link down below in the description, you help me out as a content creator. But as economics would always go, more cards in supply with the same demand means that the cards are going to go down in some way, shape, or form. I also think that the 3 new cards are fairly interesting. This exclusive is named Mind Castling, and it requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. It says you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, switch to control of that monster in this card. Then if it's synchro summoned and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field and switch controls of those monsters. This card doesn't seem incredibly bad. It seems really gimmicky, and I think it could have some use, but I don't think overall it's going to be a game-changing card. There's Heavy Polymerization, which says fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using 3 or more monsters from your hand or field in material. It also said you can also banish monsters from your extra deck as material up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, but lose life points equal to the total attack of monsters banished this way when the monster is fusion summoned. Like, there's definitely some uses for it in the future, but right now I would say overall just bad. But a good way to cheat out monsters that need fusion monsters from your deck, but you're gonna have to pay a lot of life points. And the last one is the one that everyone's raging on. This one's actually really good. During the main phase, you can tribute monsters whose total levels equal a level or more, special summon this card. Then if you control no other monsters, you can destroy one monster on the field with the highest attack. You can only use the effect of Thea the Primal Being once per turn. Neither player can normal summon or special summon more than 4 times while this card is face up in the monster zone. Now, I'm not saying that these cards are at the same level of the 2019 Megatens that gave us Dimension Shifter, Nibiru the Primal Being, and Dark Ruler no more. But ironically, during the time those 3 cards came out, Nibiru the Primal Being was the only one that was thought of as really good. People really did dismiss Dimension Shifter, which is something to look at. Both Heavy Polymerization and Mind Castling aren't completely bad cards. They offer a ton of potential in the right situation, and I'm really excited to see if that situation unfolds. Konami could very much learn from this particular situation, and they could make it better than ever. I think that the hope for the Bonanza set is going to be all of these cards are going to be reprinted again, which means that we won't have to deal with a price spike for too long. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I got. I'm sorry that it happened this way, guys. I was actually rooting that I would be wrong, but do not, and I mean do not buy these tins unless you just want to open packs or support your store. Buy singles instead. If everything is getting another reprint in 2 months, why bother with this awful tins? Shut up.